Hey guys, it's Wendy Hutchinson with Alinea Life Coaching and the Path of Me series on YouTube. Thanks for watching all of my videos. First of all, I appreciate all of you for taking time and putting up with my sound issues and tuning in every time I post a video. I sure appreciate you all. I was feeling called today to talk about something that has really been coming up a lot in my life, actually. And it's really about practicing self-love and self-care. It's something that took me a long time to embrace and something that I could do without guilt. So my first task when I was on this journey of self-discovery and which turned out to be quite a spiritual journey in itself. It was difficult for me to do something kind for myself without guilt. And a lot of that had to do with my feeling of worthiness. Like I didn't feel worthy of spending a lot of money on myself or taking time for myself. I had 2 kids that were in sports and a husband that was very busy. I was working part-time and had to run the household and get everybody where they needed to be. And I just, I was always an afterthought for myself. I can't tell you why. It just was how it worked out. It's where I was mentally and emotionally at the time. And part of it had to do with our culture. And there was a big worthiness piece there that I mentioned earlier. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you all about how important it is to love ourselves, because there aren't a lot of people who are doing that consciously in their lives, although we are very good at showing up for everyone else. And there's almost a little bit of, maybe a little bit of martyrdom there. And I say that because I was there myself. If you needed me, I was there. You need me to drive carpool, I'm there. You need me to help you with something with your kids, I'm there. I was excellent at showing up for everybody except for myself. And what I've learned on this journey is if we don't make ourselves a priority, we begin to lose touch with who we are, first of all. And we also, we start to diminish ourselves. And by that, I mean, every time you give to somebody else at your expense, just a little piece of you gets carved away. Just a little piece of your soul gets carved out, And over time, over decades, there's literally nothing left. I mean, I got to a place where I was so, I would say, I was so empty inside. I was so depleted. I was depleted physically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually. I was just running on empty for so long. I was like at the bottom of the barrel. My gas tank was empty and I had nothing left to give. I literally just burned out. So I had to slowly start pulling all those fractals of myself that I had carved away every time I compromised myself to please someone in my inner circle, or a friend, or the school that needed a volunteer, or to please my parents who were visiting and wanted me to drive to LA, I was in San Diego at the time. It was like a 3-hour drive and spend time. Anything that requires you to do something that doesn't really align with your truth and your schedule and what's working for you, basically chips away at you and erodes you over time. So I literally had to get to a place where I actually heard a voice in my head, which was me speaking to me. It was like my higher self in this booming voice inside my head saying, save yourself. And it was so loud. It was like there was someone inside of my head yelling, save yourself. I was at home, I was in my kitchen all alone. And I remember standing there knowing that I was done. I had nothing to give, nothing. I wasn't even on fumes. I was running on empty. And that was such a pivotal moment because I knew if I didn't change something that I was doing in my life, I knew I was going to die. And I know so many people are going to be like, I knew you back then. You were fine. You were happy. What are you talking about? You were going to die. I knew that my soul was dying. And that's different from having a physical illness. I knew my soul was dying. And as a result of my soul dying, I knew if I didn't do something immediately to start to honor myself and love myself, I would probably contract a disease that was life-threatening, and I probably would physically die. It felt so visceral and so tangible and so real that I would actually die, even though I looked perfectly healthy. I can't really explain it, but I just knew. You just have this deep, resonant knowing sometimes around things, and I'm very intuitive. It was just like, I know that something needs to change, and it needs to change right now. So I had to get real quiet with myself and look at, sorry, I'm looking down. It's thundering here, and I'm actually holding my dog under the table because he's shaking. So if I keep looking down, that's why my dog's having thunder terrors right now. But anyways, I knew that I had to actually really change the way I was relating to myself, change the way I thought about myself. So many of us have a negative tape running in our minds. And when I say negative, it's self-defeating. You're overweight, or you're not making enough money, or your business is not going the way you want to. You have these visions of grandeur and you're struggling along, you're on the struggle bus, or maybe you're drinking too much, or whatever it is that's holding you back. There's so many things, right? Negative self-talk, negative behaviors, burying emotion with carbs or alcohol or shopping or sex or whatever the hell you're doing to make yourself feel good or to numb out. You get to a place where you realize, this isn't working. And a lot of times when we get to a place where we know it's not working, we don't know how to stop doing what we're doing and find our way back to ourselves. And that was the beginning of my journey. That was in 2009, so 10 years ago. And I didn't have any tools. I wasn't religious, so I didn't have God. I was agnostic. Like, yeah, there's kind of something out there in the universe, but maybe. I wasn't religious. I wasn't in organized religion. So God wasn't a thing I would turn to. I wasn't a super addictive person. So I really wasn't into, when I'm under a lot of stress, I don't drink alcohol, even though I enjoy alcohol. I don't drink now, but back then I did enjoy happy hour and things like that, or wine with dinner, but I wasn't really an addictive person. So I didn't have a lot of things to turn to make me feel better. I wasn't wealthy, so I couldn't just go shopping all the time. Not that that would matter if that was an addiction. But anyway, I had to take a look at my life and how I was showing up. And I had to own that I wasn't showing up for myself. And that's huge. It's really huge. Because when you recognize that you're not showing up for yourself, you realize how little you value yourself. And that's a really difficult thing to own. And you feel bad. So you're already running a negative tape in your mind and criticizing yourself for everything under the sun. Like, I had more ways I was falling short than I could list a million things before, an ice cream cone melted on a hot summer day. Like, I could just rattle off a million ways I was missing the mark, And so it took me a while to really kind of make peace with that, own that, and realize it was my turn. And I called it the Church of Me. I started the Church of Me, and there was one member, me, in it. And I decided I needed to start attending the Church of Me daily, which meant I needed to start doing things for myself and loving myself. And the sad thing was, I was so programmed to give all the time, everything I had, my resources, my time, my money, my love, my whatever. And I didn't value myself. So the only thing I would allow myself to do was I would meet a friend at Starbucks and have a $2 Starbucks venti iced tea for $2. I was worth $2 back then. I was really showing up for myself. But that's where it started. It started with a $2 Starbucks and meeting a friend and hanging out with a friend. I could give myself the grace of that time, and I would spend $2. And then I started to branch out, and I started to walk the lake with friends. I love walking lake. There was a 5-mile loop by my house. I could always justify exercise, so I started walking the lake. I started spin class, and I loved it. And I went crazy on spin. I would spin 5 days a week. Religiously, I did that for 2 years, 5 days a week of spin. And something happened during that time. Something happened when I started giving myself the gift of time, even if it was just an hour out of my day. I started to feel better about myself. I started to physically feel better because I was exercising so hard. And even though I didn't meditate, I wasn't spiritual. Literally, guys, I had no tools, okay? Zero. If you're meditating, if you're on a spiritual path, if you have mentors, if you are taking self-improvement courses, you're like light years ahead of where I was 10 years ago. I had nothing. I was just blindly finding my way out of this space. But I started connecting to myself. So by doing things that I loved, doing things that brought me joy, taking better care of my physical body, started to shift my mental state. And as I did that, I started to see the value in who I am. And I had to be so strong because I was going through a tremendous amount of adversity at home. I had 2 teenage boys who were just fighting me tooth and nail. It's like if I said go study for finals, you would just hear electric guitar. Like there was zero compliance. If I was like, hey, you guys, you've got finals tomorrow, you might want to turn the gaming off. It was like it didn't even exist. It was a power struggle. It was a power struggle at home, and I was like, they were taking me down. I was double teamed. I didn't have a chance. So I decided I'm just going to start pouring some love into me. And it was just so small. It was such a small increment at first. And slowly, I just started to water my garden. All the negative things I had been telling myself were like pouring Roundup on my garden, my soul. All those judgments and all those negative thoughts I had, I felt invisible. I felt unloved. I felt like I didn't matter. And quite frankly, I wanted to run away from my life because I just felt like I wasn't seen or appreciated. And when you're in that space, it's so easy to be your own worst enemy. You start believing all those negative thoughts about yourself. Even if the people around you don't see that. I was really good at putting on a mask for society. I was really good at showing up with a beautiful face and a smile and a sense of humor and being engaging and fun. And people didn't know that I was even in that space of such deep suffering. I refused to be vulnerable, basically is what it was. It's like no one's taking me down, even though inside I was dying. But I showed up just like this, like, hey, I got everything's good. It's all good. I had my perfect social mask on. And really all I wanted to do was run away from home because things were so hard for me. So slowly I started to water my garden, which was all parched and dead and dried out, And so every time I did something for myself and loved myself, it was like I planted a seed. And then I started watering that seed. And then every day I would do something that would make me feel like I valued myself, whether it was a little treat or even if I just ran to Target and picked up a shirt or, it was just like this most incremental things. And I also started to practice gratitude. I started to incorporate gratitude into my life and just be grateful for everything that I had instead of feeling less than. So the gratitude really helped me with suffering. And in my intention to show up for myself started to create more beautiful and aligned choices and feelings about who I was. And through that process, I started to have an inner knowing that I matter, and we all do. You matter. We're all born perfect. We're all beautiful souls. We come into this world as babies, as beautiful little light beings, and we are that still. We still have that light and that beauty inside of us. But society and our cultures and our families, our soul families, our experiences, our traumas, our challenges in life just beat us down. It's like, what the hell happened? Before you know it, you're 35 or you're 40 and you're like, damn, this is hard. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I realize that's all part of our lesson. We come in as souls to this earth school to learn lessons, to better ourselves, to see how strong we are as we get through adversity. I mean, think about your life and everything you've survived in your life, every trauma, every challenge. You're still standing. You're sitting here watching this video. You've made it this far. I mean, pat yourself on the back. We might not be knocking it out of the park in our opinion, but we're still standing. We're still showing up. We are still here and we matter. So I felt compelled to just get on here in this crazy thunderstorm. I don't even know if my lights are going to go out. I'm in Houston, Texas, and we're having like a major storm right now. And I'm comforting my dog while I'm talking to you. But it's really time for you to water your garden, fertilize it, love it, nurture it, plant seeds, plant dreams, plant ideas. Even if the most you can bring yourself to do is to get a $2 Starbucks coffee, or iced tea, or spend a few minutes with a friend, or carve out some time to read a book, or whatever makes you happy. As long as you do a little bit every day, over time, you're going to start to shift and things are going to start to change, and you're going to realize you really are that beautiful person. You really are that light being that came into this world perfect and whole and complete. You're not broken. You're not broken. You think you're broken, but you're not. You think you're flawed. You're not. You're a product of your experiences, and they were all important to get you here to be the person you are today. And you get to choose. You get to choose you. You get to choose to honor yourself and love yourself. And if you can, your life is going to get so, oh, did you feel that? That was my dog. Your life is going to expand. Your heart is going to open. When we're feeling vulnerable and ashamed of ourselves and not loving ourselves, our hearts we close our hearts off. because we want to protect ourselves. We don't want to be harmed or hurt any more than we're already hurting. But we have to kind of work on expanding and opening our hearts. Because when we do that and find more joy in life, our energetic vibration rises. And as your vibration rises energetically and you invite more joy and life into your life, things that are in resonance are attracted to it. So a lot of my work is around helping you work through difficult times and raising your energetic vibration with Marconics energy, which is a modality that I practice. I pull karma out of your field. We work together in my coaching to help you navigate the self-doubt and these dark spaces. So wherever you are, don't give up, okay? Don't give up on yourself. I know exactly where you are because I was there, in there, and I found my way out, and I know you can too. So that was my message for today. I hope you all take it to heart because you all matter. You're all beautiful. And don't believe the negative thoughts that you're thinking. Those are only thoughts. They're not truths. Okay? You're loved beyond measure, and you're supported. You're supported by your spiritual team. You're loved by so many, and you don't even know it. So allow the love in, and allow yourself to love yourself. All right. I hope y'all have a great night. I'm here for you. If you need support, reach out. I'll put my contact information at the end of the video, and be kind to yourselves, okay? I love y'all. Bye.